What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler, and today is day number 22 of my 32 straight days previewing the 32 NFL teams ahead of the 2020 NFL season. If you haven't watched the first 21 episodes, the link to the full playlist is down below in the description. And in this episode, I will be looking at the New England Patriots, the most dominant team of the last 2 decades. Patriots, 6-time Super Bowl champions led by Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. The Brady era is over in New England, and Patriots fans are now wondering what is next, and maybe that's Cam Newton. But first, let's look back. Patriots, they lost their Week 17 matchup last season to the Dolphins, dropping them to 12-4 on the year. Very solid, very respectable, winning the AFC East once again. But of note from losing to the Dolphins, they dropped from the number 2 seed and having a first-round bye in the playoffs to the number 3 seed in the AFC, which proved to be crucial as the Patriots lost to the Tennessee Titans in the wild card round. Mike Vrabel's defense had every possible scenario played out. They played dominant against the Patriots offense. Derrick Henry ran all over them. Ryan Tannehill performed well when he was needed to throw. And now here we are in 2020. Sure, they still have Belichick, arguably the best coach in NFL history. I think he is the best coach. But they lost Tom Brady, who is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in NFL history. Do I think they're going to go 12-4 again? No. Do I think they'll win 10 games? Probably not. I do think they have a chance now that they have brought in Cam Newton, who they signed to a 1-year minimum deal. No real risk there, bringing in Newton. And if he performs and is healthy, I think Cam Newton could definitely lead this team back to an AFC East crown for yet another year, taking it away from the Buffalo Bills, who many thought were going to be the top dogs in this division this year. The one thing with Newton is his health. He's dealt with foot injuries, shoulder injuries, concussions, ribs, back, it goes on and on and on. I might be even wrong there on all this. I know it's definitely been a foot and a shoulder as of late, but it's been a lot of injuries for him, so he's just got to stay healthy. And so does the core around him. Sony Michel, he started the training camp on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list or physically unable to play list, something like that. James White, he's dealt with injuries. Rex Burkhead's dealt with injuries. N'Keal Harry, their first-round pick last year, wide receiver, missed a good chunk of time with injuries. Mohamed Sanu and Julian Edelman, they're both getting up there in age. So if the offensive guys could stay healthy, Newton could have success to thrive. And you know what? If he plays well, great for the Patriots. They probably make the playoffs once again. They have a solid quarterback for the next 3 to 4, 5 years at least, because he's only 31, I think he is, Cam Newton. So they can continue their dominance in the AFC and the AFC East, and Bill Belichick can continue being the greatest coach of all time. If he doesn't, okay, they move on from him after the year. They either draft a quarterback in the 2021 draft, whether it be a high draft pick of Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, or a later pick that Bill Belichick only he knows and likes and can mold. Or Jarrett Stidham, who was the presumptive starter entering the season before Cam Newton was signed. So there's a lot of options here for the Patriots. The one thing that they do have going for them is that their defense is very solid, at least on paper. Stephon Gilmore is arguably the top cornerback in all of football. He got a 99 overall rating for crying out loud in Madden, so clearly he's pretty darn good. And I will say, although Devin McCourty, Jason McCourty, Patrick Chung, in the secondary are all past their primes, as well as Dante Hightower, who just turned 30, and there's no real promise around him at linebacker. There are some holes, especially now with the departure of Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins in free agency. The Patriots will have they'll have to do some things to ensure that they can win games this year, but they got Belichick. So he's one of the best football minds we've ever seen in NFL history. So if anyone could conjure up a situation for the Patriots or conjure up a game plan for the Patriots to win week in and week out, it is Bill Belichick. They will be at the talk of the league regardless because they got Cam Newton, because they have Bill Belichick, because of all the storylines that going in. If Tom Brady does well in Tampa Bay, or if he doesn't, the Patriots will be in storylines throughout the season. So it'll be interesting to see Bill Belichick. He's just got to limit the noise, just like he has so well during his time as the New England Patriots head coach. Looking at the full schedule, which will be down below in the description with my win-loss projections, they start off the year week 1 versus Miami. I do have the Patriots losing this game just because Miami looks to be much improved this year, and the Patriots could come out a little slow, especially Newton. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots come out guns a-blazing, if you will, and trying to knock off the team that essentially ended their dynasty, quote unquote. Week 2, they go to Seattle. I mean, Seattle looks to be one of the top teams in the entire league. Tough game there. Week 3 is where they get their first win. First, Las Vegas at home. Raiders look to be very bad this year, so don't be surprised there. Week 4 at Kansas City. I mean, the Chiefs and the Patriots have battled in some really great games the last couple years. I mean, obviously there was that AFC Championship game in 2018 that went to overtime and the Chiefs didn't get the ball and all that. But Patrick Mahomes, I think, can throw all over this defense like he's done in the past, so don't be surprised if the Chiefs come out with a victory there. Week 5 versus Denver. This game I'm interested about because the Broncos have a nice young core, especially a quarterback and on offense, with guys like Drew Lock, Cortland Sutton, Melvin Gordon, Phillip Lindsay, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, KJ Hamler, etc. But I think Bill Belichick can conjure up a defense that stumps Lock, and the Patriots are able to pull out the win. So I'm looking out for that game. This is one I have circled. Yeah, I found a pen. Circled on my calendar for sure. Week 6, they have their bye week. So nice early in the year. Probably will hurt them, honestly, just because they could use more of the rest toward the middle and back half of the season, given all the injury-prone players they have on their roster. Week 7, they go take on San Francisco at home coming out of their bye. That's another win, in my opinion. That's Jimmy Garoppolo's return to New England, the team that drafted him to be the successor to Tom Brady, and they ultimately traded to San Francisco. So, interesting return there. Obviously, there won't be fans, most likely, but I do think the Patriots could do something to stifle Jimmy G. Week 8, they take on the Bills for the first time this year. And this series, I have the Patriots splitting. I actually have them splitting all their division games, going 3-3 in 2020. So here's our first one against the Bills. I mean, the Patriots have been the big brother to the Bills' little brother in recent years. And going forward, I think that could possibly flip. But this year, it might be different. I do have the Bills winning this one, though, and then losing their Week 16 matchup. So there you go there. Week 9 at the Jets. I mean, the Jets project to be horrible. I do have the Jets winning one game against the Patriots, but I think that's mostly probably because it's going to be late in the year, and you never know with the Patriots and the Jets. So there you go. I'll throw the Jets a bone there. Week 10 versus Baltimore. I mean, Lamar Jackson ran all over this team last year, and I don't see why he can't do it again. The only thing that could be hindering them is if Bill Belichick finds a way to slow him down, but that's going to be very tough because not many teams can slow Lamar Jackson down without hurting him. Week 11 at Houston. I mean, the Texans, they got Deshaun Watson, who is a top 5 quarterback in the entire NFL, in my opinion, maybe top 7, you could say. Although he doesn't have great offensive weapons around him in terms of health, if they're all healthy, the Texans look to be really good. Week 13 versus Week 12, versus the Cardinals. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins and Kenyon Drake make a really good Cardinals offense, but I think similar to Locke in Week 5, I think Bill Belichick can draw up a defense that stifles Kyler Murray and that will slow him down. Week 13 versus the Chargers, a win right there. Week 14 against the Rams, another win. Week 15 at the Dolphins, another one. So 4 straight wins from weeks 12 to 15, which could be really good for the Patriots' playoff hopes. Week 16 versus the Bills, a loss late in the year. That ultimately, I think, will clinch the Bills the division. So, I mean, the end of the Patriots' reign, somewhat. I think the Bills ultimately will win the division this year, given their continuity. It definitely helps. And Josh Allen, I think, when healthy, is one of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL, or top 15, top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I like him more than Newton. So there you go. Finally, Week 17 versus the Jets. I mean, I do have the Patriots winning this one, but you never know late in the year what could happen. So who knows? Maybe the Jets pull one out like they did last year. But I think the Patriots win this one. Helps them get into the playoffs, ultimately going 9-7, sixth in the AFC, making a wild card spot, especially now that the NFL is going to 7 playoff teams for this year, and going forward for that matter. Patriots will be a big benefitter from that. Benefitter, that's a word, right? Big beneficiary. There we go. That's the word. Thinking on the fly here. 5 games I'm most looking forward to, though. Week 4 at the Chiefs. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Really good offense. We'll see how the Patriots defense holds up. in that one. Week 5, like I mentioned, all those weapons in Denver. Plus, they got a good defense with Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Jarrell Casey, EJ Boye, among others. So we'll see how that goes, but I think the Patriots defense could stifle Locke, similar to how they did against Sam Darnold last year when he said, quote, "I'm seeing ghosts." Week 11 versus the Texans, I mean, Deshaun Watson, great quarterback. Bill O'Brien might try to sabotage this team, who knows, but as of right now, I think Watson, given his talent, despite the talent of the players around him, he can just carry this team whenever he wants. Week 15 versus the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins and Patriots will probably be fighting for second in this division this year, so this will be a huge game for them. Plus, if Tua Tagovailoa is starting, it'll be interesting to see how he stacks up against this Patriots defense. And finally, Week 17 against the Jets. Patriots will probably need this game to win to make it to the playoffs. If they're in that second place spot in the AFC East. So they'll probably try to win this one here, but you never know. We saw it last year. Patriots lost that game to the Dolphins Week 17 and ultimately greatly impacted the AFC playoff picture. But let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Where do the Patriots stand? Or is their reign as AFC East dominators done? Or can Cam Newton or Jarrett Stidham continue to keep this team afloat and in the playoff hunt for years to come? Thank you all so much for watching. Next episode, we'll be looking at the New Orleans Saints. And until then, we'll see you. Have a great day.